What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Kicking It with Crowder. This is episode 90, so thank y'all so much for joining me again tonight, whether you're on the live, during the live stream, if you're just watching after the fact, on your way home from work, on your way to work, whatever it may be, guys. Thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it. This is my second show today. I've also done a show for the podcast, kind of an SEC special with Jake Crane, host of the J-Boy Show, guys. So an up-and-comer in the, the college football kind of content creating, and he is very, very good. Has had a lot of really good guests on the show, guys. So check him out as well, J-Boy, the J-Boy Show on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. And also check out Kicking It with Crowder. If you're new to the show, thank you guys so much. Don't forget, comment down below, like it, give it a share so more people can see this and we can get this thing out there and get this thing growing, okay? So, Kicking It with Crowder, episode 90. Bucks have the big comeback victory in the fourth quarter over the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker did all he could. I think he had 42 points, or 42 points, one or the other. Also had 7 fouls. He had the 2 fouls that weren't called late in the game, which were odd. The NBA, if one league is going to be looked at for, throwing games or, it's actually been proven, one of their NBA referees, Tim Donaghy or whatever, he's in prison right now for throwing NBA games. So a lot of people think that, hey, this series is going 7 games. The commissioner is in his little office hitting, the button, hey, don't call this, don't, just the joke that's going around. Of course, Adam Silver is not doing that, but Bucks, needed everything they could get to get this victory against the Phoenix Suns. Chris Paul did not play very well. That's probably has a lot to do with why Milwaukee was able to win that game. Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton played good. And the supporting cast of both these teams, I think that's really going to be the major factor. Can Miles Bridges and Jay Crowder and some of these other guys for Phoenix, the second unit, can they do enough to beat this Milwaukee team? And on the Milwaukee side of things, can a guy like PJ Tucker and Connaughton and things like that, can these guys make these plays? I think I saw every single point Connaughton scored last night. I think he had like 13 points. Hit a couple threes, couple big rebounds. He's a very good offensive guard. Offensive rebounder for a guard. And, he just came up with big play after big play last night. You know what Giannis is going to give you. And the guys out there just playing really inspired basketball. Had the big block as well against Ayton last night. So, Game 5, I think will be Saturday night. So, they'll be playing on Saturday night. Big game. I think the winner of Game 5 ultimately wins the series. Can any of the road teams win a game? Because right now it's gone chalk to both home teams. Phoenix has taken, both games at home. Milwaukee's done the same. So can the road team get a big win? Devin Booker's probably going to be the MVP for Phoenix if they win. Giannis is probably going to be the MVP for Milwaukee if they win. So this is legacy we're talking about here on the line. We're talking, implications. You're talking Dallas Mavericks 2011. If they do not win that title, is Dirk looked at the same as he is now? So if Giannis just is saying, this is his only trip to the finals, or he gets back and just can't win one. Hey, he won in 2021. That's all people will look at. If Devin Booker is able to win, if CP3 is able to, put the cherry on top of his career, 17-year career. It's done everything you can do. Led the league in assists, led the league in steals, 10-time All-Star. He's done everything you can do individually, but he has not won that ring. So can Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and this Phoenix team, get it done? I think it's a toss-up at this point. I liked Phoenix in 6. I'll still say Phoenix, but I'll go in 7 right now. And if Milwaukee wins Game 5, I think they ultimately win the series, and they could win it back home in 6. So we'll see what happens. Can they, backdoor sweep them after losing the first 2 games? I think it's possible, similar to what they did or almost did to the Nets. They did beat them in 7. So we'll see what happens, guys. Monty Williams and Budenholzer, they're going to have a lot to do with the outcomes, managing these teams who are, in foul trouble in certain situations and drawing up plays and things like that. I think that coaching really matters in the NBA, and Monty Williams, he's done a heck of a job as well as Budenholzer. I heard a lot of people talking about Budenholzer not making adjustments and things like that. I just don't think that's true. I think Budenholzer is an excellent coach. So Bucks, they tied up. Middleton scored over 40 last night. He was huge down the stretch. Drew Holiday clamping Chris Paul was also huge. So going back to Phoenix, 2-2. Can an away team win? We'll see what happens. Chris Paul has to step up with his worst game of the series by far in Game 4. So Home Run Derby, guys. They're actually doing a rerun right now on ESPN. So if you missed it, and I know a lot of people tuned in, I saw 2 people on my timeline, Bradley and Lorenzo, 2 guys who actually watch his show, who were actually talking about, Bradley said he has not been this excited for a home run derby since King Griffey Jr. So he's talking 20 plus years. And then Lorenzo said, he's never watched an MLB All-Star Game or a home run derby, and watched both of them, and it was actually exciting. So, you got 2 guys who Ohtani is basically gravitating these 2 guys to watch Major League Baseball, and that's what Major League Baseball needs, guys. It's a slow-paced game. It is a child's game. A lot of children play. Parents go out there and watch their kids play, T-ball, C-ball. Then they get to B-ball and get a little bit better. Then they go A-ball, and they got travel ball in high school. And, basically it's a kid's game. And you got these guys out there, Shohei Ohtani, doing what 12-year-olds do, who are 6'2" and just a little bit bigger than all the other little pipsqueaks out there. And, they're pitching 75 from 45 feet, and they're dropping 15 bombs a season. That's basically what Shohei Ohtani is doing right now, but he's doing it in the major leagues. This guy, Ohtani, would be a top 5 pitcher in the Major League Baseball if he's focused solely on pitching. But that's not what he wants to do. He's also a great hitter. He's hitting .279 right now with 33 home runs and, almost 80 RBIs. The guy is showtime. He's also has 11 starts with a 3.51 ERA. He's sitting 4-1. Started the All-Star game. First player all time ever to start as a starting pitcher and starting hitter in the All-Star game. He's showtime. Shohei Ohtani is just a wonderful player. I love watching him play. What can't this guy do? He also leads the AL in triples. Very athletic guy. He's basically doing what Bo Jackson did, but with Bo Jackson, of course, played running back and started in the All-Star game for the Royals. That's kind of what Ohtani's doing, because he's doing both at such a high level like Bo Jackson did. So I think this is the most exciting it's an All-Star game has been since kind of, Barry Bonds era, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, King Griffey Jr. era. And there were just home runs going left and right the other night. They weren't waiting for... What's up? What's up, Coach Drew? They weren't waiting. Did you watch the All-Star game the other night? Did you get into Shohei Ohtani? I'm not sure if you've heard about him. Coach Drew, the guy's just amazing. And he's getting people who aren't normally baseball fans into baseball. And that's what we're talking about right now, Coach Drew. Just talking about what he's been able to bring to the game of baseball. Got guys who are not normally baseball fans watching it, doing things that, haven't been done since Babe Ruth. So I think Major League Baseball needs to take this and run with this, and they need to market these foreign players, the Ronald Acuna Jr.'s of the world, the Shohei Ohtanis, the Fernando Tatis Jr.'s, the Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s. You have such such good foreign baseball players that, it is just unreal. And the youth, they said they're going to spend over $100 million in getting in these black communities and trying to get baseball grown. And that's great for Major League Baseball. Cannot hurt in any way trying to grow the game and getting people interested for the game of baseball. So they are they're doing a better job. And I really feel like, marketing a guy like Shohei Ohtani and Fernando Tatis Jr. and Ronald Acuna Jr. and all these guys who aren't American can go out there and they do a good job for Major League Baseball moving forward. So very, very, very good. Very good All-Star game. AL beats the NL, I think 6-1. Now they've won 11 out of 12 or 12 out of 13 All-Star games for the AL, and NL cannot just get over the hump. And then in the Home Run Derby, just huge success. You had Pete Alonso, who just won in 2019. He puts on an absolute show in the first round, hit 35. Then in the second round, with time to spare, beats the guy in the semis, and then in the finals versus Trey Mancini, who I'm going to give a big shout out to Trey Mancini. Put on a show, made it to the finals of the Home Run Derby. This is a guy who missed the 2020 season with a stage 3 colon cancer. So Trey Mancini didn't even know if he'd be alive at this point, and he's out there in the Home Run Derby competing with Pete Alonso, the polar bear. So huge shout out to Trey Mancini. I'm so glad that you are in remission, and I saw the little E60 special they did on you, man. I'm rooting for you, Trey Mancini. And Trey Mancini is a guy who, I wouldn't mind if the Atlanta Braves picked up the phone and called a Baltimore Orioles team and was interested in a guy like Trey Mancini, because he's a hard-nosed guy. He goes out there every day. And you know what he's going to give you, and the guy can play as well, and that's exactly what Atlanta needs after losing a guy like Ronald Acuna Jr., who of course tore his ACL 2 days before the All-Star break, and it was just heartbreaking for not only Ronald Acuna Jr. but the Braves organization. So they're going to have to maybe look around at the trade deadline and see what they can do. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., guys, is the youngest all-time to win the MVP award for the All-Star game. So shout out to Vlad. He just reminds me so much of his dad, watching him play, his swing, and just those images of him when he was a kid. It's just so cool for guys who whose dads played in the Major League Baseball and they follow in their footsteps. There's a lot of players like that right now in Major League Baseball. So first half is over with, guys. I'm going to give you an updated kind of where we stand right now in the NL and the AL. I'll also give you the 2 wildcard teams right now as well. We'll talk about that later on in the show. Shohei Ohtani, guys, hitting 280, 33 home runs, 3.51 ERA. I think if he could just focus on being the best hitter, he could be the best hitter in the league. I think if he just focused on being the best pitcher solely, he would be the best pitcher. The guy is that good. Like I said, I'll give you division winners and wild card teams right now as we sit at the break, and then what the Atlanta Braves may need to do to kind of get back in that playoff contention. We'll talk about Team USA basketball, and this is shocking because when they constructed this basketball team, yes, I don't think it's the best team they've had in a while. I know in 2008, 2012, 2016, they won the Olympics and, beat these teams by a lot. Hey, Mona, thanks for watching. Hey, Glenn, what's up, man? Thanks for watching, brother. And USA basketball, they have the clear advantage right now when it comes to this Olympic tournament, and you have stars. Yes, you don't have a bunch of players out there. I just decided to come on a little earlier, man. Not much was going on, Glenn, so I just decided to come on. But thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate it. But USA, man, they yes, LeBron James isn't in it. Yes, you have some players who have opted out and aren't playing in it, but you have guys who are like Kevin Durant, like Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard, Bam Adebayo. You have some talent. You basically should win this Olympic tournament. They're 1-2 right now. They lost to Nigeria, a team who they beat by 70 in 2012. So I think they beat them like 150 to like 170 in 2012. So it was a tough loss. And Popovich, he's not used to losing. His Spurs team have not been as good in the past few years, but man, losing to a Nigeria team, I thought that was pretty tough. And then also they lose to Australia, and they only score like 1 point in the last 4 minutes of that Australia game. So they do get it back on track and beat Argentina the other day, but it's just at this point it is kind of concerning. And I mentioned Bradley Beal's name a little bit earlier, guys. I got tough news. Bradley Beal is out. Bradley Beal will not play in the Olympics. He has a positive COVID test, so he's out. And then also the contact tracing, Jeremiah Grant is also probably going to be out as well. So you'll have to replace both those players, and then you're going to have to also replace Devin. You got Devin Booker, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday coming, who are going to be, exhausted after this playoff run they've had. I thought that was kind of a bad choice to pick some guys who are going to be playing all the way up, not get a break, then they have to come back and do Olympic basketball, and then you come back and then you do an NBA. I mean, that's tough on a lot of these teams. Now, I know Phoenix hasn't made the playoffs in the past 10 years, so these players should be rested up, but, Devin Booker has been playing a lot of minutes, and you would hate to see some kind of injury just based off of, just exertion and just basically your body's hasn't been able to keep up. So you don't want to see anything like that. So who will they take? Who will they take Bradley Beal to replace Bradley Beal? Steph Curry. I'm just saying. I know Steph Curry originally, said he did not want to play, but that is a name who, can get some people really excited for USA basketball. Steph Curry, you're going to need guys who can score the basketball. So I look for a guard, maybe a Russell Westbrook type player to possibly replace a Bradley Beal, his teammate in Washington. That could be a possibility. If Grant misses time, you could see a guy like Julius Randle, who finished top 10 in the MVP voting this year. You could possibly see him step up. So USA's got plenty of options. There's also a guy named Trae Young out there who's pretty dang good at basketball. Yes, he injured his foot and may not want to play in this tournament, but if that phone rang, then he may answer that call. So just a lot of things. A lot of players are going to be out because of injuries and just the weird season last year, and then the quick turnaround this year. That's why LeBron's out. He's promoting his Space Jam 2. So just a lot of stuff going on, guys. I'll keep you updated when I hear about the replacement for Bradley Beal. I'll also let you know for sure about Grant, who they say there's no decision yet, but it just sounds like he may not be able to play. In soccer, guys, great finish last Sunday night. Italy is your 2020, even though it's 2021. They are your 2020 European champs, defeating England 2-1 and 3-2 in penalty kicks. So basically, it was 1-1. They go to the extra time, no goals, then they go to penalty kicks. So technically, it was 1-1, but Italy did win. So I'll say 2-1, and then in penalty kicks. So basically, England missed their last 3 penalty kicks. Italy got up there and basically could win it. All Italy had to do was make it. They win 4-2. England's goalkeeper blocks it, and then Italy's goalkeeper comes out and blocks the 19-year-old Saka, who was kicking. He was kicking the game-winning or the game-tying shot. He was tying the game-winning shot as a 19-year-old, and I did not like him shooting 5th in that scenario. I would have shot him like 2nd or 3rd. I mean, just a young guy with that kind of pressure for your country. That was tough to watch. Him miss that, and all 3 of those guys. I mean, penalty kicks aren't easy, but you're professional. You should make them. But Italy is your 2020 European champion after missing the 2018 World Cup. They actually have not lost a game in like 30 some odd matches. So Italy is going to be very good going forward. And I'm not sure if y'all got to watch any of their goalkeeper. Man, their goalkeeper. He's like 24 years old now. He is amazing. And I got a little note right here talking about Acuna Jr. will miss the remainder of the year. We've already talked a little bit about that. Really, really tough news for the Atlanta Braves. So Glenn let's see what you want to talk about. Are these Olympic basketball games the USA is losing just tune-ups, or did the Olympics already start? All right, so yeah, Glenn, these are just expedition games, but I will say USA is 52-2 all-time expedition since like 92, and they've lost 2 this year. So, I mean, I don't think it's time to like hit the panic button, but I mean, USA's got to get it together. What's happening is they're being forced to play a European style brand of basketball. They're playing small ball. They're shooting a lot of threes. They don't have these intimidating big men like they've had in years past, like Dwight Howard. They don't have an Anthony Davis. They don't, they just don't have these big men. They have a Kevin Love and Bam Adebayo and things like that. So it's just tough to, play that old school style of basketball. They're trying to be forced to play this European style of basketball. And if you're not making your shots and you got Nigeria making 23-pointers or Australia making 23-pointers, whatever team did that the other day, it's just hard. It's just hard to win games. So Popovich will have chances to figure this out. I think that they still win the Olympics, but I think that this will be a lot of their games will be closer than they have been in years past. And yeah, everyone's not an NBA fan, and I get that, Glenn. And but I will definitely be watching the USA basketball. Hopefully, you will too. But yeah, NBA Finals, man, go check out the Game 5. It's going to be pretty good. Phoenix versus the Bucks. Game 5, I think that's Saturday night. So if you're not doing much, Glenn, check it out, man. All right, guys. So just got some bulletin points. We've already basically talked about everything we're going to talk about tonight. I got my division. Leaders right now. I also have I also just have some other notes here as well. So, like I said, All-Star game, AL, NL, 6-1. And Ohtani, if you have not watched Ohtani play this year, go check him out. I mean, the guy is just box office. He's going to be pitching every 5 days, and then he's also going to be hitting nuclear shots. I'm not sure if you watched the Home Run Derby, but Shohei Ohtani hit 6, and I repeat, 6 home runs over 500 feet. I mean, the guy is just unreal. He can throw 100 miles an hour as well. So not only does he have the rocket arm, but he's fast. I mean, he's just a great athlete. I mean, the guy could probably play another sport if he really wanted to. So he hit leadoff and was the starting pitcher. Going to be the first time that's ever happened in the MLB. And he's the buzz of the first half, as he should be. And I saw a article the other day that just said basically Shohei Ohtani, it's not like Major League Baseball has pushed him to be that star. He just has done it himself. He's marketing himself. It's just, yes, he's a foreign player and things like that. And, Major League Baseball has done a better job of marketing these type players. But just to see him go out there and just the love and passion he has for the game, it gets a lot of people. Hey, what's up, Rita? Gets a lot of people interested in Major League Baseball. And like I told you, a bunch of people who I've already said earlier in the show don't even watch baseball, and Shohei Ohtani has got these guys attracted to the game. The game is in great hands right now with some of these young guys. Vlad Guerrero Jr. hit a 470-foot home run, which was a no-doubter. They said would have went out of all 30 Major League Baseball stadiums. That's a cool little stat they have nowadays. And also he won the AL MVP. And then the second half, guys, of the season should be very, very good. I'm very excited for it, for the second half of the season. And you're going to see teams who were pretty good in the first half kind of fall off. You're going to see some teams that were bad in the first half, come back. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And we'll talk about the NL first. We'll talk about some teams. So all these teams I'm going to be naming right now were not... all the 3 leaders right here were not playoff teams last year. So in the NL West, I think you have the story of the NL this year, and that is the San Francisco Giants led by Gabe Kapler. This was a team that was, not supposed to, be better than the Dodgers this year so far. We're not supposed to be better than the Padres, but all they've done is win. Buster Posey's having another great season behind the dish. Then you have Brandon Crawford having a career year. He's been an all-star in years past, but he's putting up even better numbers this year. Kevin Guzman, who the Braves picked up a couple years ago, did not work out. He is just flourishing into a great starting pitcher as well. And, Yastrzemski, he's another good player. They've just done a really good job, and the Giants, I think, are here to stay. I don't think they're going to win the division. I think the Dodgers or the Padres, one of those two teams, will jump them. But I have San Francisco making the playoffs still as a wild card team, so that's a team to look out for. If you ask everyone who would have the best record at the All-Star break, you ask 10 experts, all 10 of them would not have said the San Francisco Giants. Out of the East, guys, not only are the New York Mets in first place, if you watched the Major League Baseball draft this week, which was pretty entertaining, they got Kumar Rocker, a guy who pitched some very, very big games, pitched in the 19 World Series for Vanderbilt, was the most outstanding player in 2020. They don't have their season. They play a little bit, but not, don't complete it. Then this year, Rocker comes out. He's their Friday or Saturday night starter. Then the Mets get him at 10th overall in the draft. He's going to sign with them, a big deal. And he's a guy who could possibly be pitching come September. I mean, he's that talented. I mean, I'm not even joking. He's that talented. And then you have the Brewers, who are just led by Woodruff and the guy who just pitched in the All-Star game, who Vlad hit a home run off Burns the other day. So they got Woodruff and Burns, two pitchers up at the top of the lineup. Then they, of course, are led by Christian Yelich, who is not having one of his best seasons to date, but he's playing pretty decent. Brewers are in first place, and that's going to be a really tough division down the stretch. You got the St. Louis Cardinals, Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt, and then the Cubs were playing really good baseball there for a while. What are they going to do at the trade deadline? Are they going to be buyers? Are they going to be sellers? Chris Bryant's a name to look out for. I think the Atlanta Braves should go all in on a guy like Chris Bryant, who could play some infield and can also play the outfield. The Atlanta Braves outfield right now, with the loss to Azuña and Acuna, are just kind of depleted at this point. So that could be a name to look out for. And so you got the Giants, the Mets, and the Brewers leading so far. And with the Mets, they're leading the East, and they haven't even hit well. They've just had a few guys who hitting, of course. Their big story is Jacob deGrom. Can he stay healthy in the second half? And the Braves are 4 games back, guys. So I think that the Atlanta Braves have a shot, but you're gonna have to hit better. They're gonna have to put these strings of game together, because they're not consistent enough, and their pitching is up and down as well. And then in wild card 1 and 2, you have 2 NL West teams, and that is the Dodgers and the Padres. So it's going to be tough for, if the Braves do not win the East, I think that both wild card spots will come out of the West this year. So it's basically you got to win the NL East or just get really, really hot and sneak into that wild card 2 spot. But then after that, it's back to the old playoff rules. So instead of having the 8 teams like we did last year, when we played the Mets, who they play? They played the Marlins in the first round last year. This year it's going to be a little different. You'll have the wild card teams play 1 game. Winner goes ahead and plays the best team in each league with the best record. So that's the NL and the AL, guys. The AL West has been, it's going to be the A's or the Astros most likely. And right now, at the All-Star break, the Astros are in first place. They're having just great seasons by Altuve and Carlos Correa, 2 guys who opted out of the All-Star game. And it was interesting to see those 2 guys opt out with all that Astro stuff going on. Didn't want to go and face all these other guys who know, hey, we cheated. So that was interesting. I thought that was interesting that both of them opted out. Then the East, man, Alex Cora and the Red Sox team. If it wasn't for the Giants, the Red Sox would be the story of the season, but they're not getting a lot of love. It's basically because, I think people are just used to the Red Sox doing so well, so they didn't have a good season last year. But the Red Sox, they have Nathan Eovaldi, the All-Star. They also are going to get back Chris Sale at some point. I saw a picture the other day, and it was like 20 Boston players just sitting out there, eating their sunflower seeds, just watching Chris Sale pitch, and they were all just surrounding him in it. And the picture spoke 1,000 words to me, because at the end of the day, that team is going to go as far as Chris Sale can take them. The Yankees have been up and down this year. I think the Rays are the team to watch out for in the East as well, because the Rays, two teams I just mentioned, the Rays and the A's are both in the wild card hunt right now. Both Rays as the wild card 1 and A's as the wild card 2. So, if they cannot win the division, either of those teams, yes, they get in the wild card, but they're still coming for the Astros and the Red Sox. And then in the Central, guys, the White Sox haven't even played that well, have a lot of guys injured, and what does Tony La Russa do? Have them in first place by 8 games at the All-Star break. I think this is the division that's just not going to be very close. Cleveland's 8 games back. They have Shane Bieber and some things, but the Indians maybe, we're looking to move Jose Ramirez before the season. Do they maybe try to move him now? Is a guy like Shane Bieber available? Is any of these big names going to happen at the trade deadline this year? I'd like for the Atlanta Braves to kind of go after, a bigger name, but, at the end of the day, maybe just go after a guy who's on an expiring contract who, can just be a filler for this lineup. I'm not asking for a guy, a 300 hitter to, hit 50 home runs and 100 RBIs. Just need a guy to hit 270, with, 15 home runs down the stretch, maybe 40 RBIs. I mean, the guy who can get on base and play some different spots in the outfield. Maybe if the Marlins want to move off of Duvall, Adam Duvall, a guy who has familiarity in that locker room, and a guy who knows, this team and the city very well. So I think that the Braves will add a bat. Yes, they could move Christian Pache back up, or they can move Drew Waters back up, but I think they need a veteran bat in that lineup to come in and kind of get hot down the stretch, because you got Freddie Freeman, you got Albies, Austin Riley's been hot this season. You're going to have some offensive guys, but at the end of the day, you can't have all these platoon guys. What's up, Bob? You can't have all these platoon guys in the outfield just switching up in and out, kind of like Camargo did for a few years there as at third base. You just have to get an outfielder, and like I said, an Adam Duvall. A Trey Mancini becomes available. Just a Michael Brantley type player. Not saying Michael Bradley, but Brantley, I'm sorry. But, just somebody like that who can come in and be a tough at bat come September, October. And yes, Bob, that's the thing. The Atlanta Braves just can't seem to get over 500. And it's like every time I watch the game that they're going to go over 500, they lose. I've been to one Braves game this year. They did win, so maybe I need to go back to Atlanta. But yes, get over 500 first. And then can Max Fried, turn in the second half, can he just turn into just a version of himself that he was in 2020? We know Soroka's out. Ian Anderson has pitched pretty well. Not great, but pretty well. Drew Smiley's been better. Also, Charlie Morton has been pretty good. So, also, you have Yanoa, who I think, has maybe another month out or so, but he was pitching really good. So, if you can just get hot down the stretch, your pitchers, and the Braves here, what they need to do, Bob, and I've been saying it all year, man, they need to win 8 out of 10. They need to win 10 out of 12. They need to just go on a nice little win streak, and that's basically what they're going to have to do. And Freddie Freeman heating up right now, right before the All-Star break, that is nothing but good news. So, Dansby Swanson, we know he'll be great down the stretch. And then can we get a Travis Denard back down the stretch as well? So, I'm not throwing in the white towel on the season yet, even though Acuna injury, that really, really hurt. Especially, having it happen against the Marlins, and then them tweeting out that inside the homer, inside the park home run. That was a Bush League right there. I didn't like that shit at all. But that's the Marlins for you, just a team that doesn't really make the playoffs, and then when they do, they actually won a couple World Series, but they don't really have real fans, and their organization is trash, and their fans are trash, and all their pitchers are trash. And I just don't like the Marlins, so the hell with the Marlins. That's just how I feel. If you have a Marlins fan, tag them. I don't give a shit about Ronald Acuna Jr., but, man, tough to lose him, but, I want him and I want Mike Soroka to get healthy this offseason so those two guys can come back and lead the charge for this for this team, guys. So thank you all so much for joining me tonight, guys. I really appreciate it. Like I said, this NBA Finals this Saturday night should be a very, very good game. MLB second half. And then, guys, we're cranking up football. Football is coming. I have my show. I will be sure to share that out with you guys and put it on the Kicking It with Crowder website and Facebook page. But I just did a show today with Jake Crane, guys. Jake Crane. If you're not familiar with him, he is the host of the J-Boy Show, YouTube. He's on Twitter and Facebook, all that good stuff. Yeah, he was a former college coach, now transitioned into the media world, and he is a very, very good follow on Twitter with Inside News and things like that, Inside Scoop. We did a show today kind of on Georgia, Alabama, and Auburn. And then we also talked a little bit about the SEC, you know, what were his kind of dark horse teams, what he expected from Brian Harsin in his first season, this Auburn defense, Georgia's high expectations, and JT Daniels, and then can Bryce Young and this Alabama team, you know, repeat the success that they had in 2020. It was a very good show, guys. Be sure to check that out. I'm going to have it out on all my content, and we're going to push that episode very, very hard because it was a really good show, and I look forward to doing more stuff with Jake down the road. And then, guys, next week we're going live from Charlotte. Sorry, my headphones kicked out for a second. But we're going live in Charlotte at the Hilton Garden Inn at the Hilton in Charlotte. We'll be going live from there, guys. I'm going to be working with Fox Sports Media and my good friend Rob Sanders, so that should be an excellent episode. Maybe we can get a player or a coach maybe to join us next week. It's going to be really, really fun. So that's going to be coming live to you probably on Wednesday night from ACC Media Day, my very first media day as a kind of reporter or sports commentator. So I'm really, really excited to come to Charlotte and experience this firsthand and kind of work and get my hands dirty. So live from Charlotte next week, ACC Media Day, Kicking It with Crowder, guys. Really excited to bring you all that. Thank y'all so much for joining me tonight. As always, you can find me pretty much anywhere you get your podcast from. Spotify, iHeartRadio app, Apple, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. If you haven't already, guys, give this a like. And then also go check out my Facebook page, Kicking It with Crowder. We're almost at 1,000 likes on that as well. So thank y'all so much, guys, for joining me. I really appreciate it. And until next week from Charlotte at the ACC Media Day, I'm out. Let's go. Thank y'all, man.